All right. Hello and good day, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Virtual Link Up. So, Virtual Link Up is a program we started during the height of the pandemic in our desire to keep the meaningful discussions and learning opportunities going despite the restrictions, for the benefit of all our stakeholders, especially our clients, the micro and small business people of our nation. So today is a very special edition as we continue our journey on the road to the Green Innovations Summit 2023. The Green Innovation Summit, of course, is a multi-day event geared towards assisting aspiring green entrepreneurs develop environmentally friendly business ideas, learn the most important aspects of running a business, and acquire the most effective techniques in pitching their business ideas. It is also geared in providing selected entrepreneurs with access to outstanding mentors, top-notch business development training, peer-to-peer training and learning, and community formation and bonding with like-minded individuals. So participants of this summit are likewise expected to gain valuable knowledge from these experienced mentors who will coach them and provide them with the necessary information to better shape and pitch their business ideas at the end of the summit. So free winners will be declared by a final panel of judges. And of course, the winners will receive cash and in-kind prizes as a support package for the continued development and execution of their winning business ideas. So we opened our registration early this year on the 31st of January. That was a Tuesday. Now, to assist them in their desire to be part of this summit, we invited four of those who have already, the process of thinking or ideating innovative business idea. We have all of them here, and we will ask each one of them, how do they really do it? How do they come up with such innovative ideas? So today we are joined, of course, by first our executive director, Mr. Cletus Joseph. We have the founder and CEO of JD's Naturals, and of course, the winner of our inaugural edition of the Green Innovation Summit in 2021, Jody Dublin Danglebin. We also have a past mentor, and he's coming back as a mentor this year, CEO of Creativity in Motion. It's a consulting company, Mr. Kevin Francis. And the newest member of our NGIS family, of course, the co-founder and CEO of Dom Software Ltd, trading as ShopDM.store, Mr. Tony Edwards. To our program, let's start with a short opening remarks from, of course, our executive director, Mr. Cletus Joseph.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thanks, Donald. Let me say thanks to Mr. Tony, Ms. Jody, Mr. Kevin, and the other NDFD staff members here present. Thanks for taking the time off to spend with us this morning as we sort of explore the need for being innovative, being entrepreneurial in our approach to business. Every one of you here upcoming. Let me just say with regard to the Green Innovation Summit, we deliberately scheduled the having the Green Innovation Summit every other year because we want to allow persons time to grow within that period, so we can help nurture, help to develop some of the ideas that have emerged. So the Green Innovation Summit, as part of the objectives, one of them is to stimulate the space for entrepreneurs to emerge and to explore their ideas, is one of the main objectives of this. And again, as another one is that we want to create an enabling environment whereby the entrepreneurs are allowed to innovate, to explore, to be entrepreneurial in whatever it is that they are doing, because we have to continuously develop, as I indicate. This Green Innovation Summit with a focus on green industries, on green businesses, but it's no different in terms of the logistics of the challenges that you face. And green more or less presents an opportunity to contribute to the issues of climate adaptation and mitigation technologies, but also what opportunities lie in there. So that is part of the objective of the Green Innovation Summit, where it allows persons to, create and innovate and be entrepreneurial without risking the health, safety, well-being of your enterprise, or even allowing for development and growth of such enterprise. And hence, which is why we as NDFD, we do not believe that we have the answer, but we are part of the answer, and everyone out there in the ecosystem can contribute towards developing it. And hence we engage these partners, and why, again, you three entrepreneurs are here today. So this is part of it. So we try to bring and generate a lot more synergy amongst ourselves, and we know the results of synergy. It helps create a lot more value for what it is that we are doing. So we also want to create an awareness that within our challenge, we want to the camaraderie and the networking that we provide, the opportunity to network, to discuss with other persons and share what challenges we have, and to be able to figure out collectively how do we approach facing these challenges, and how these are the kind of 4 or 5 main objectives of the Green Innovation Summit. And I want to really stop there and allow you others to express their ideas, opinions, and your valuable information and experience with us on that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Edie, Mr. Joseph. So once again, we would like to thank our guests at this time for coming in, because in our effort to really open up the Green Innovation Summit, of course, we would like more people to be able to come and register. But, some are thinking that, it's just for a few. Those people who can think creatively, those people who can think innovatively, So how do we really think? How do we really come up with innovative business ideas? So sometimes we are overwhelmed by the concept of ideation or thinking creatively or innovatively. And that's the reason that we invited these people to kind of give us some tips or recommendations on how they actually do it. Let's start with Mr. Tony Edwards, co-founder and CEO of DOF Software Ltd, trading as ShopDM.store.
Hi, Donald, and hi, everyone else. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. So yeah, my name is Tony, and I'm one of the founders of ShopDM. So ShopDM is an e-commerce platform that makes it more easy for persons within Dominica or persons connected to Dominica to purchase what they need in Dominica. That's what we do for the really the customers of our platform. The higher level kind of goal of ShopDM is really to create opportunities in Dominica. So the persons that you purchase from, whether they are stores as large as Stefan's or smaller manufacturers like Jody herself or Be Naturals, they are given online virtual stores, and then they can manage their stores, they can list their products. and they can, run promotions, that sort of thing. But the whole reason why we run this model where really it's other persons selling their inventory is to do exactly what your partner was just describing, to partner, to give people this ability to make their money online. Similarly, we have done very similar things with the delivery. So persons can enter the delivery network as a means for them to make money. And that's really ShopDM. The problem it solves is lets customers purchase online and lets persons in Dominica who want to earn, gives them different channels to earn.
All right. Thank you very much, Tony, for that introduction. Now let's move on to Mr. Kevin Francis.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity for us to speak to you all today on some of these budding entrepreneurs. My name is Kevin Francis, and I'm the CEO of Creativity in Motion. Creativity in Motion is a consulting company primarily dealing with digital transformation and essentially creating unique and custom solutions for a lot of the business challenges that a lot of our small companies face in Dominica. It originally started off with just small micro consulting with a few friends, and it's grown to the point where we have experience in the private sector. We also have tech experience as well, and just how we bring solutions to our clients, it really brings value as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Kevin Francis. And now we move on to Miss Jody Dangleton.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you again for inviting me. My business was created, well, I was inspired, I would say, to create my business from my love for organic products and the lack of these on the market that actually works for my natural hair. So that's how I started up the business. So Jelly's Naturals is a home-based small business in Dominica, and we produce natural hair and skincare products. So some of our products are shampoos, scrubs, conditioners, butters. We have also done vegan lipsticks, lip balms, and lip oils. We consider our company the perfect matchmaker. So we marry our indigenous global remedial culture with modern formulation techniques to create our products. So we sell online at www.jdsnaturals.com and also at ShopDM. We're in stores like Fresh Market, Zep Creole, Jollies, and in the region, we also have retail locations in St. Martin and Tortola. We have also gone into formulation, where we offer our formulation services to people who want customized products. So we have our lotions as room amenities at Rosalie Bay. We have also done spa products for Fully Ridge, for Jungle Bay, and we also do like customized orders for people that have specific hair or scalp issues.
All right, thank you very much for that. All right, so now it's time to answer the question that we would like you, our dear innovators and entrepreneurs, answer today. And the question is, how do you ideate? How do you really come up with innovative business ideas? So this is really the main question that we want answered today, so we can also help those who are out there listening to us really crystallize their ideas, their innovative business ideas that they could submit or use to register for a chance to be part of this year's Green Innovation Summit. So let us start with, of course, the inaugural winner of our Green Innovation Summit in 2021. And she is also the founder and CEO of Jadis Naturals, Miss Jody Dangleton.
I believe that I come up with innovative ideas on a whim. But I know that you can. I think some people have it innately. I think I'd want to put myself in that bracket. And then innovation is really, it can be learned, I believe, as well. For me, my process is very haphazard. I would see something and I would like, how can I make this different? How can I take this idea and turn it into something more unique? So my mantra throughout life has been, why think outside the box when you can think like there is no box at all? So essentially, what that makes me do is to just think dreamily, think of things that have never been done before, think of different ways to put very unique twists to different services and products that I do, and make it fun. I think that in essence is who I am. Making things um, really touch people in terms of our traditions for one, and things that set up a light bulb in my head. So I'll be walking down the road and see someone making, let's say, burgers, and I will think to myself, but how can I do that same business and make it actually more appealing to the public? So that's how I think normally. And I think most of my ideas come when I'm sleeping. Very strange. So I actually have a notebook by my bed. Sometimes when I'm very relaxed, um, I have nothing on my mind, I have no work to do. That's when I think most of my ideas come to fruition. But on the other side of the coin, I think that innovation can be learned as well. So I think first of all, you need to identify where there are market gaps. What are the different services that are maybe not available that you can offer to the public, or services that already exist that you can help improve or upgrade. And I think with that needs to come a lot of the willingness and ability to continuous learning. You always have to be abreast with new technologies, with new thinking, what is going on in the world, what are people, what is trending, like we want to see on social media. I think that all these lend to an innovative approach to coming up with business ideas. So first of all, you have to, like I said, identify a market gap, identify a need, or get some service that is already working or product that is already working and improve on it. I think too, we need to actually ask questions. Problem for someone. So we need to go to our end users, find out what are their needs, what do you want, what would make life easier for you. I think we're a lazy generation, which is not so much of a bad thing. We want things easier, we are internet children, and so we need to think of that. How can I make life simpler for someone? How can my product improve on someone's lives? And so those I think are important, formulating different questions, bringing them to your end users, and also analyzing your ideas. So you can have a great idea, but would it really be suitable at this time? Or should I wait maybe at Christmas time where it might be more suitable? So like you can come up with an idea, but sometimes it might not be the right time to implement it. So that's why it's good to journal as well. So I will come up with ideas, I'll just jot them down because sometimes I'm not ready, or my consumers might not be ready for that product or for that service at that particular time. Also, I believe communicating with others who you believe are great innovators. You know, learning from them, learning their methodologies, how they innovate, all this can be useful for you now to learn how to innovate and innovate successfully. I have a few notes as well that I want to go to. Originality, I believe, is key. So whatever I do, I want to be the only one to do it or the only one to do it that way, in that particular way. So I will always add some unique aspect to my services or products. And like I said, do it in a fun way, do it in a way that would capture people's attention. That is very important. We have a very short attention span. And so things that jump out at people or stand out to people are very important in innovation as well. And your idea has to be feasible. Your idea has to work. You know, we have a lot of ideas, but when it actually comes down to planning, it might not be doable. It might, and then therefore it will not be truly innovative if it does not solve a need. As well, I think ideas that are disruptors are usually the best ideas. So business disruptors, ideas that come when, oh my God, what did she do? Will this even work? I think those ideas are the ones that actually are very successful. And sometimes ideas that sort of even redefine our status quo, like we have been doing things for 50 years this way, but then someone comes with this innovative idea that just questions how we did things before. These I find are very innovative, and that is what I tend to look to do when I innovate and when I come up with new ideas for my businesses. I think it's for those who have innately, it's something that they apply to their everyday life. So even at work, when I do my reports are totally different from the templates that I have at work. I always add in something. So for example, I will do a site visit, I'll add a QR code. So they scan the QR code, they see the site, they see the pictures. You can put videos in a report, in a written report. So you can actually see videos in my report when I do it. So just thinking of different ways that would help people, that would give people a clearer picture of what you intend to provide to them are all part of innovation as well. Yes, I think that is it on my part, what I can remember that I had to say.
Thank you very much for that, Jody, for those insights and there. Let's move on now to our next guest, Mr. Kevin Francis. Answer the question, how do you ideate or come up with innovative business ideas?
Right. Well, I did write something. I did prepare something, right? So I think one of the big things for me really is understanding and really not just, I guess, telling people how my mind works, but also, understanding that, there is a process involved in everything that we do, even though, it seems like we don't, right? So first off, let me say that, all innovation is a thinking process, yeah? And the outcome of that process is really what drives innovative products and innovative services. Now, ideation is the process of generating new and creative ideas. And it's usually part of, the design process, right? So generally for me, right, it can be broken down into two types. And these are the types really that I think I use and we are most familiar with, right? So the first part is a process-based idea generation. So Jody kind of stopped on that just to talk about the processes and really show that it is something that you can learn, right? And that's the thing about processes and this kind of idea generation, right? And the other side of that would be the intuitive idea generation, which Jody has identified with, that idea where, you'll sit in one day and all of a sudden, it comes to you, right? Those kind of intuitive processes. But then at the end of the day, I mean, the real question is, are these good ideas? Are these ideas that are going to, change the landscape, transform the landscape, create new ways of thinking and new ways of doing. So generally, like just to touch on the first piece, right? Generally in the ideation phase, you are trying to generate as many diverse ideas as possible, right? During this phase, there are a few things that you need to consider. Firstly, it's really quantity over quality, right? So generating as many ideas as possible, not really worrying about the quality. So, and then the second part now is to suspend your judgment. One of the things I, usually tell my clients is that your creative mind and your critical mind cannot sit at the same table together. Not when you're generating ideas anyway, right? The next thing to consider is, make sure everyone is at the table. So if you're a part of a team, if you, like Jody mentioned, have mentors or persons who have experience in a certain industry, in a certain field, in idea generation, it's good to have everybody at the table to really get that diversity of ideas that we spoke about in the first point. And one more last thing to consider before I get into the process generation is novelty over relevance, right? So we're all good at relevance, right? So we can all create the odd spreadsheet, to represent data, for instance, and that's relevant. But it's really at the intersection between relevance and novelty that innovation is born, right? So being able to really get those novel ideas and distill them down into something that's doable is important. And we're going to get into that very quickly, yeah? So now the two-tier ideation processes that I use, right? Now, like we mentioned the first time, it's process-based ideation, generally follows a list of prescribed steps, right? Creating a good idea, right? So, and we'll get into what a good idea means later on in the final steps, right? But the general model can be summed up in 4 steps, right? So you first have like knowledge or empathy. So listen, you cannot hope to solve a problem you know nothing about. Yeah, you cannot try to solve a problem in an industry if you don't have any experience in the industry, right? So that's very, very crucial. Knowledge and being able to empathize with the challenges and the problems is paramount, first of all, right? And then there's the definition of the challenge. So you define what the problem is. Well, what am I trying to solve, right? What is the process or the problem or the process or the issue, right? It's experiencing, across the industry, for example, yeah, and define that problem. That's going to be very important in trying to figure out what is it that you're going to do to solve that problem, right? Now, the next stage, the third stage would be brainstorming, which would be the ideation portion of this, and which is where, you generate it's like brainstorming is a creative technique, really, used to generate new and novel ideas, right? So there are many types of brainstorming techniques. However, I focus on one, which really helps me out, right? It's mind mapping, right? So mind mapping is a visual brainstorming technique that involves creating a diagram or a flowchart to explore connections between different ideas, concepts, themes, those kind of things, right? In a mind map, like you have a central idea or concept, and that's placed in the center. And with related ideas branching out from it in either like a hierarchy format or a radial format, just depending on how you do it. But the idea or concept can be further expanded upon with branching out from a similar manner, right? So the resulting diagram can be used to visualize relationships between like different ideas, the identity patterns or themes that may not have been immediately apparent. Right, so you really want to kind of flush out everything on the table so that you can see certain things and certain connections, right? And the last part of that is really a testing or a validation stage, right? Because every idea, needs to be, tested, and it's usually, determined whether or not if it's a good idea. So, I mean, that comes into those critical questions, which, I will explain to you now. So like how does that work in practice? Right. So like consider a hypothetical scenario. Right. So because of, say, my 20 years of experience in a particular industry, I identify that one of the major challenges being experienced by the industry is the lack of information for companies to make, informed decisions. Right. So once in that statement, I already have my knowledge and my empathy right there because I already have 20 years experience in the industry. Right. 2, I've defined the problem. Right. The problem is that we don't have enough information to make, successful business decisions, for instance. Right. So in the mind map, right, what the problem becomes the center. So your next question would be, what contributes to this defined problem? Now, there could be several issues that contributes to that. It could be 10, a list of 5, a list of 10, right? You write it down. And then the next level would be, why are those contributing factors important to your target audience? There's a why, right? Now, based on the contributing factors, you can have several whys. You have 10, you have 10 outcomes, or you have 10 problem definitions and maybe 20 whys, just based on storming. Remember, it's about putting as many ideas out there as possible. And the next part of that, the next stage of that, the next level of that would be, how can I address those identified whys? Right? So now that I've understand what the problem is, why we're experiencing this problem, the next stage would be for me, how do I address, these identified things? And there's a half step after that, or an additional half step, I would say. But a big part of it too is, spotting synergies and relationships. So yes, you can address, an issue in a certain way, but it's usually more successful when you are able to identify people to work with, identify in industries that synergize with your idea, or persons that can help you, right? And now the last part of that, which for me would be the test of a good idea, would be that validation test. So, I mean, I'm going to be very, very, plain. I tell my clients that all the time. There are many different questions, but there's one question as an entrepreneur that needs to be answered in order, for me anyway, to be considered a good idea. But before that, right, some of the other questions that you need to ask is, one, like, do you have the capacity and resources to pull this off, right? Because that is very important. A lot of the innovation and the innovation thinking comes from your ability or your confidence in your ability to do. So, okay, cool. I'm working with Tony. Tony has a software play. I want to get into software, but do I even know anything about software? Right? Can I make software? Do I know anybody, or can I hire anybody to make that software? That is an inherent challenge for you and your idea, and definitely a validation test, right? The next question is, who are your stakeholders? Who are the people most involved or most affected by your idea? What is the desired impact? And does it align with the defined problem? Right? Another question you can ask is there a path? And I believe that this is the most important, right? Is there a path to profitability and sustainability? Because yes, for sure, I think passion is important, but passion and profits is really what make entrepreneurs smart, right? So at the end of the day, whatever idea that I have that I solve, an industry problem I want to solve, I'm also going to be able to, find a way to make some, monetary compensation for that. Else, why are we entrepreneurs, right? So this sums up the process-based method, and I would now like to touch on quickly, like, on the intuitive process, which is a lot easier, but the same. So the intuitive process, in my experience, idea generation is not just for the people who are creatively inclined, right? It is there is a process, and even though you feel like, hey, I'm not a creative person, there are tools, tips, tricks that you can follow in order to get a viable idea. The last part of this, discussion I wanted to touch on was just that, the intuitive part of idea generation. So take for instance, like, the intuitive, in my experience, is the way most of us come across ideas. Yeah. So most of us see idea generation as a creative process that is usually, hampered when you start bringing in things like structure and steps and those things. But it's worth mentioning that, the distinction between the two is not, structure versus non-structure, but rather it's each having its own structure to follow. Right? Now, take a scenario where, Jack has an epiphany, yeah, that, in his part of the world, self-writing pens, for instance, would really solve an ongoing problem in the recipe writing industry, in the Philippines, let's just say, right? So seemingly no rhyme or reason to the process, right? But regardless of how the idea is generated, it must be tested. Yeah, in a way, reverse engineering your idea, and putting it through the validation process. So certain questions like, okay, do you have the knowledge in the industry that we talked about, right? Or experience the same problem? What challenge are you trying to address, and is it even an issue? Yeah, why would someone be interested in this product, this new product, or this product over that product, right? Do you even have the capacity to pull it off? So whether you generate your ideas through a process, or you wake up in the middle of the night and you and you write it down on a notebook on the side of your bed. I think all ideas need to be tested to ensure its validity, its sustainability before you even activate it. In the US military, being battle tested is the highest form of testing for weapons, from prototyping all the way. So in a way, these ideas, we have to battle test them before we can, activate them or implement them. So to conclude, I just want to say that while there are many techniques I've outlined, some of them may work better than others, but it's worth noting that all idea generation, in my opinion, boils down to two things: knowledge of the issue and your capacity to execute.
Great stuff, Kevin. Thank you very much for that. Now let's move on to Tony. Tony, how do you really ideate? How do you come up with innovative business ideas like you did, you and your co-founder did with, of course, the very popular shop DM.store?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Donald. What the response that I have will kind of touch on a lot of things that both Kevin and Jody said. And I think that's kind of testament to the information that's coming out here. Like, someone who looks at this should, hear it from multiple angles. Some of what I say will be a little different, but I think for the largest part, it will reinforce what they said. So I also prepared, I sort of broke it down to 4 steps, but I love to use examples because I think that makes things really clear. I'll use shop them as examples, but a few other examples as I go ahead. So the 4 steps I would like highlight. As a precursor, I think very logically. I wouldn't actually call myself a creative. So it's great because I think Jody is probably much more creative than myself. I have a very, very logical thinking path. And I think learning the sort of techniques that Kevin was mentioning have really helped me be able to create useful ideas. So I think the 4 steps are, first you identify an important problem. I think in my opinion, one of the issues that we have in Dominica is we don't think of businesses as a mechanism to solve problems, but that's what business is. Business is one of a few mechanisms. Another one would be the government. Another one would be civic governance. Saying is, business is really a mechanism to solve problems. And if you solve a problem that is it has a very big impact on someone, they are going to want to pay you for that. And that's really what businesses are, right? You solve a problem for someone, it's big enough a problem for them to pay you. So the bigger the problem and the more people that it affects, the larger your potential market in that for that business. So with that sort of framing, I'd introduce the 4 steps as identify an important problem, right? The more important, the better. The second step then being considering different solutions, and that's very much touching on what Kevin said. And then the third one is testing your solution, because again, as Kevin said, you can have an idea, but if that idea, and if you think of what Astafans was already doing with these care packages, you look at it in verticals. That's how we think of it, right? So Astafans decided what the customer wanted. The customer paid. They often paid in cash on the curbside. That's the payment vertical. Then there's this good, Astafans has done the inventory packed it together. And then there's the delivery, which Quick was doing. And very much if you look at it as verticals instead, you will see that what we've done is just changed what the solution in each one of those 4 verticals is. The purchase, the payment, the inventory, and the delivery. So it's not that it's a wildly new idea where we looked at things we looked at inspiration from local solutions, from international solutions. We came up, obviously, I have a tech background, and that helps if you're thinking of what's possible, right? Databases allow you to list inventory online and then put things together. So yeah, and then the last one I want to add before I leave this point is looking locally And Jody does this incredibly well. Now, this is often something that you don't see when you look at Western dialogue on how you solve problems, because unfortunately we suffer from this idea that the smart people are in the US or the UK and that we can't do it like them. But actually, there are many problems that have that we have traditional solutions for, and those solutions could just be scaled up. So one way that ShopDM manages its delivery is by using the solution we've used for decades in Dominica, which is having bus drivers deliver items. This is how people in the countryside have gotten their items for decades. But what we're doing is systematizing it. We're making it accessible to people who don't live here, people like diasporans. We're making it standardized so that a tourist that is passing through can use it, and it doesn't just need to be someone living in Margaret. So I would say yes. So you can say brainstorming and then looking for inspiration, and I would say you can look from inspiration in other geographies, look from inspiration in other industries, and look for inspiration locally, where you might find solutions that are just operating at a smaller scale. And then, like, if we go down to testing is really, you can dive into each of these areas pretty deeply, but I would say the main thing I don't see locally is testing with MVPs, right? So when you are building solutions involves resources, right? And resource constraints is something that every entrepreneur, everyone with an idea that is going to join this Green Entrepreneur Summit, that's something in the back of their mind. If I'm building a hairdressing operation, how am I going to fund it, right? And that's why MVPs are so important in testing your solution. So MVP stands for minimum viable product, and what it is you want to test your idea as quickly and as cheaply as possible, right? So I'll use ShopDM as an example. We're still developing ShopDM. Even today, before I was on this call, I was building software to improve ShopDM. It's not a fixed thing. So that's almost 3 years into developing ShopDM, but we launched ShopDM after 4 months. What we did is we stripped out everything we possibly could from the solution, and then we released it to the public to see how the public responds to that. If we could have done it within 4 months, which you can for most businesses, we would have done it that way instead. So someone like Jody just starting JD's should probably make a single bottle of her hair shampoo and just try to sell it to a friend. One of the biggest positive indicators is whether or not anyone that you know is willing to pay for the product. You can look at this in a lot of ways, right? It's actually a bit of an exercise to start thinking like that. How can I make an MVP out of this grand idea in my head? So if your idea is a rental service, probably you don't have to, outlay $30,000 to buy a car. Probably you can just use your mom's car, get your mom to agree to you renting her car for a day and see if anyone will try to rent it and be willing to pay for it. If you want to start well, let's go green. If you want to start a more sustainable type of fertilizer, you might try to just form a single relationship with a single farmer and see if he would be interested in you, getting him that fertilizer, an amount that you can make in your free time after work, right? And all of this, what it does is it validates your idea or it invalidates your idea. If it invalidates your idea, that's great as well, because now you can change your idea. You can try one of those other ideas that you came up with during the brainstorming phase. So again, I'm going to be brief because I don't want to go too long. The final step is incorporating that feedback. And again, like I mentioned, that's something that we do really poorly in Dominica, right? We take feedback, which is arguably the most important thing, far more important than even the money you earn, is the feedback that you get when you're in an early stage of building your business, because it allows you to earn more money in the future. It allows you to build that business. So when you talk to that farmer and try to provide him with the fertilizer, but he says, actually, no, this won't work for for my banana crops, it tells you either need to reformulate it or you need to target farmers with a different type of crop, right? If you're trying to rent and the person's like, oh, I'm not willing to rent for this price, it might mean you might need to get higher end vehicles that people will be willing to pay more for, or you might need to target another part of the market, or you might need to add something to your product. But feedback is always useful. And I think that's something we can do better locally. Yeah. So really, those are the 4 ones. Just to wrap it all up, it's look for a problem, come up with different solutions, test those solutions, and then incorporate the feedback. Yeah, that's how we do it at Shop. Yeah.
So we've heard the 3 of them. It's time to hear what, of course, the big boss here at the NDFD can tell us about thinking innovatively and creatively. This is Joseph. I also would like to pose the question to you, sir. How do you really ideate? How do you come up with innovative business ideas?
Donald, I must say you're doing me an injustice at this time. After you have these kind of presentations and from practical applications, and that really puts the theory into practice, putting me in a very... These are real kind of entrepreneurs, persons who are doing it. And I want to say one of the messages that kind of is emanated and is echoed out there is you cannot stop innovating. You must have continuous improvement as the core to your business. And as Mr. Tony was saying, that he launched Shop DM within a 3-month period. And the essence is that it was not complete, because it's never going to be anyway, because you have to continuously develop. And we could look at Shop DM, let's say, versus maybe an Amazon or an Alibaba. If you notice, they constantly improve the product. And they improve also based on, yes, the algorithms they set to pick up your patterns, your trends, your likes, your dislikes, what you viewed and whatnot. And they customize the product or the service to suit you, to keep attracting you, to keep coming back. And that is part of innovation. That is part of ideation, that you can really keep continuing. So innovation, you don't have to invent a totally new product, but how you improve what is already existing, how you help partner with something that is already there. And maybe somebody just looking at it, referring to Shop DM again, how do you operate with an Astafans in the market? Astafans has been there older for longer than us, right? 40 years, maybe 50 years, somewhere there. But Astafans is in the marketplace, but yet Shop DM can have Astafans use their service. Splendid. That is innovation. And you bring in Jody on board, that also utilizes a service that maybe Jody can say, wow, oh yeah, this is just one of my other avenues to make my product available. It's splendid. It's great. It's a way to have different skill sets, different personalities, different services, and different products just come together and make it work for everybody. I like to say that part of that compete and kill is an old Western capitalistic mentality that we need to rid ourselves of, and be more of who we are, and more like Ubuntu, we're all in it, and how we're going to help each other get to that point that we want to be, and not a matter of I kill the competitor to be overly profitable, but rather how do I use my competitor or my collaborator and turn each other into collaborators who help all of us get to the point of profitability where we would need to be and be more harmonious. So this is one of the areas that I think stands out, and that can be quite prescriptive, can be quite instructive to our innovators out there who are willing to participate in our upcoming summit. The issue, while Kevin was speaking, spoke about the creative mind versus the critical mind. And it shows that there's a place and time for everything. That when you are just being creative, you don't want to be critical in your analysis at that point, because you have to get the ideas coming, and then you go through the critical analysis process. Which of those do I really keep? Which of them can I use together and make them partners to help develop each other? Thing, and where does it go? Which collaborator outside of me do I bring in to help my innovation to flourish? And so that is pretty important. Testing and validation, and that is where I believe our summit is providing the opportunity for us to do that testing and validation and not destroy ourselves in the process, because we know that we are limited with different resources, particularly financial, where if I make that investment into that and I try the product, or I try to create the product, or I launch the service and it does not work, where do I go from there? Or I am not even able to make the amendments, the changes necessary to ensure that it works, critical areas. And again, you have to think of, when I go through that process of testing and validating, I also have to keep an open mind as to what else do I bring on board to help improve what is it that I am testing, to help change it into something that can really work. So it's kind of real practical. And again, I think our summit provides that platform for us to really come in together and explore. And we have an idea lab day also that where we want to provide the opportunity for persons, even after submitting, to come and take that and improve it further into something that can be really more competitive, that can benefit from other ideas that will be presented to you, other persons whom you may just be able to just have a discussion with, somebody who made a presentation. And that's the essence, that's the beauty of what we are providing there in terms of being able to ideate, to innovate, and to help make more business cohesive decisions to help improve whatever it is that we are thinking.
So thank you very much, Edie. Thank you very much to everyone. I just want to say something quickly. And this is also my kind of contribution to this discussion. So how I know all of the things that were mentioned by our guests are something that I think I've in one or another used, but I have some kind of that I normally use as well when I try to think innovatively or creatively. And you know me, I like to tweak. I like to start with something that's already existing, and try to change it or alter it to something that's more useful, more more meaningful, more powerful. So these are the steps that I would normally do. So first, I try to substitute, right? So I try to substitute something. So are there other properties that we can use, other time, other place, other people, other feelings. So I try to substitute something with another thing, right? Number two, I try to combine things, and it's something that I think I really like doing. So combining things, can you combine one idea with another? Can you combine purposes, right? Can you combine talents, resources? Like me, I am just into so many things, like I like sports, I like pop culture, I like, politics, and I'm just open to like so many ideas. So what I do is I try to combine elements from these different areas and see if, the new idea is making sense. Another thing that what I do is I adapt, can I adopt something to a different context? Or can I adapt Tony's idea to my own situation? So that's something that I also like doing. Can I probably borrow some features, from Kevin's concept, that kind of thing, or maybe a concept that's already existing in China or in Sydney in Australia. So this thing. So that's what I normally do, or maybe adopt an idea that's outside my industry, and it's something that I like to do. So for example, is there something that I can learn, say, from the medical practitioners or the doctors that I can adopt to, like, how I manage the team, that kind of thing. Or another thing that I do is I try to modify and I try to magnify, so things. Can I modify a certain, feature that's already there? Or can I make it bigger? Can I magnify a certain quality, right? Can I modify the frequency, the pricing, and all of these things? So that's what I normally do. Another thing that I do is put something to another use. So say, for example, coffee, so how can I put it into another use aside from the normal thing, right? So that's what I challenge myself to ask that question. How do I put something to another use, something that's already there? How can I use it to solve the problems of other, say, group of customers? Or maybe I can try to use other byproducts, or maybe just put something to another use. Another thing that I do is I try to eliminate, how can I simplify something? So say, for example, there's a complex process, how can I eliminate something or minify something to make the process more, efficient, to make it more powerful, to make it more accessible. So that's what I normally do. And of course, last, what I do is I try to see if I can rearrange things, see if I can, say, for example, interchange components, maybe use another order instead of like the step is 1, 2, 3. I'll try to make it okay. Maybe I can put the third step as first, and the other one is, first, making it last. And of course, the idea of exchanging roles, can I exchange the role of one component to another? So as I try to brainstorm do some brainstorming, those are the steps that I normally do. And usually I end up coming up with, fresh ideas. And it's something that, you guys may also want to try out there, as you try to think of something that's innovative and creative that you could submit or you could use as you register to our this year's edition of the Green Innovations Summit. So that's my own humble contribution to this. To end this amazing discussion, we will now go back to our guests and give them some time to say something before we end this virtual link up. And I'm gonna move on to this person who have given us so many great ideas when it comes to ideation. And I would like to make this big announcement, if I may, Mr. Edie, that Mr. Edwards here has accepted our offer to be one of our newest mentors in this year's edition of the Green Innovation Summit. So thank you very much for accepting that offer, Tony. And now I'm going to give the floor to you to give your, shall I say, parting words, so to speak, as we end this session.
Thank you again for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for inviting me. I mean, we will, like myself and ShopDM by extension, will be very, very happy to make whatever contribution we can to the local entrepreneurs. The whole idea behind what we're doing is to create opportunities for entrepreneurs we actually think of our mission as very much aligned with the mission of NDFD or the other entities in Dominica that are trying to support the local ecosystem. So yeah, thank you. I'll be happy to take part, and thanks again for having me here. What I would say to the entrepreneurs is, you can absolutely do it. We've come to think of entrepreneurship as this, crazy wizardy thing. You need to be some, super skilled, super resourced person from another part of the world or something. But you don't. I mean, we live in a society that is functioning because of entrepreneurs, whether those are the bus drivers, the bakers, the store owners, the person who give us fuel for vehicles, the person who sells us vehicles. You're surrounded by entrepreneurs, and you can absolutely be one. You probably are one in one way or the other. I think it's a great idea to take part in this Green Entrepreneur Innovation Summit, because one of the things that the system here locally doesn't do is it does not yet make it very easy for you to enter entrepreneurship. So I love seeing these initiatives that make it easier. When I was in the UK, that was one of the big differences between being in the UK or being back home, is that, you really felt like the system was trying to help you. It was giving you everything you needed to become an entrepreneur. So I love that that the Green Innovation Summit is going in that direction and giving you much more of what you need to become an entrepreneur, and I absolutely support it. So that's it, and check out Shop DM if you all think it can solve a problem for you.
Similar to what Tony said, just want to echo some of the sentiments, in terms of really helping these young entrepreneurs, achieve what it is that they want to do. So much of what it is that we do is focused around, entrepreneurs and helping them get from 0 to 1, and then in other cases from 1 to 2, right? So being a part of this and being able to help entrepreneurs see it differently, see it in another way, in a light that is empowering to them, in a light that makes it so that their dreams are also attainable. I'm very happy to be a part of this initiative, and I wish all the entrepreneurs luck. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, I'm really inviting you to join this summit. If you have an idea, if you have an existing business, and you would want some mentorship, because the summit is not just about entering to win. No, it is about developing your idea, developing your business, getting mentorship, getting the different tools that you need to develop your idea as well. So the Green Summit was very, very pivotal for my business. It gave me a lot of insight on things that I needed to do to improve my brand and to improve upon the idea that I had. And so I'm just encouraging you to call them up at the NDFD, and they would help you through the process to enter the Green Innovation Challenge. And if you need any support, and if you need any questions that you have and if you have any questions that you need answered, you can always call upon me, and I can always guide you as to how I entered and the process that is involved in it. Okay, so thank you. And I look forward to always working with the NDFD in the future. Thank you.
And just to clarify, Jody, you're not anymore qualified to register or to apply for the summit. In fact, since you are our inaugural winner, you now will be one of our mentors for this coming summit. So for all of you out there, it's a great opportunity for you guys to have the like, of course, of Miss Jody there as one of your mentors. So you really have to take that opportunity.
I think participating in this is like a win-win for everyone. The entrepreneurs who will be participating, the young persons who will be participating in that, to benefit from the mentoring, the knowledge sharing, experience sharing process is important. It's always important that we learn from each other, that we don't repeat others' mistakes, or even sometimes we can kind of learn and capitalize on the mistakes that others have made that they are willing to share. is one. I hope that ShopDM, by participating in this, you will be able to kind of attract some new clients who will be able to use your platform. So by all means, it's a win-win situation. And Kevin, likewise, we've had that relationship, so you can continue to grow with the support of NDFD, of this forum, attract some more clients as well. So it's essentially a product that is in the development. So like ShopDM, like you, Kevin, like Jody's, Naturals, continuous development. And that has been a mantra of mine for a very long time, that essentially you never are able to deliver a perfect product, but you always have to improve on it. You always have to, because if you don't, you essentially will be driven into oblivion and become obsolete. So you have to always continue to develop. Otherwise, some other organization will develop, capitalize on what you have done, the market you've set, and think there are advantages of being the first on deck, the first with the product or the service. There are advantages, but you have to maintain that advantage by being creative, by being innovative, by being entrepreneurial with whatever that you're doing. So with that, I want to say thanks, gentlemen. Thanks to Jody, who had to leave early, and to you, Donald, Carl. Thank you very much for everybody. And just a final pitch that those who are looking at that, come on, register before April 25 and be part of it. Thank you.
So definitely. So just a few information about the registration process. So to register, interested persons should fill out the form provided on our social media platforms, or submit a 250-word essay or a 2 to 3 minute video to the NDFD discussing the following points. Number one, who are you? What environmental area are you addressing? What is the problem? And then finally, what is your solution? Now, it doesn't need to be like a really thorough, complicated solution. It could be an idea, a seed idea that you can still further develop. Now, the environmental areas identified, which you can address, are the following: water management, waste management, solid waste management, energy efficiency, renewable energy, and recycling. Now, all submissions will be reviewed by a panel of business experts, and a selection of top 20 submissions will be made. The top 20 selected applicants will be then invited to a one-day bootcamp week. Finally, May, we will have the Idea Lab, where your submitted ideas are expected to be further polished and presented to a first group of judges. So from that group, the top 10 to 12 applicants will be nominated to participate in the actual summit. And the actual summit will happen in June the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So we are inviting everybody out there, those who have an idea on how to solve the aforementioned, environmental problems under those aforementioned environmental areas. Please do register, and we will provide further details of this registration together with this session, maybe in the caption or in the comment section. So once again, thank you very much to us and being a part of this special edition of our virtual link up, the road to the Green Innovation Summit 2023. And we tried to answer the question, how do you ideate, or how do you come up with innovative business idea? So this is Donald Bercasio again, the Business and Entrepreneurial Development Manager here at the National Development Foundation of Dominica. On behalf of the rest of the team, we would like to say good day and have a meaningful and innovative day as we end this. I hope that you start thinking and crystallizing those ideas that you can submit to us. So we will leave you with this highlight video of the 2021 Green Innovations Summit. On behalf of the entire NDFD organization and ecosystem, I would like to welcome all of you to this inaugural Green Innovation Summit.
Happiness is the measure of success, and baby, trust me, I know just where we should be. And that is Dominica, where I can take you down to the river. We could be sipping on island rum, bathing in island sun, chipping to island drums, baby, that's a happy place, happy place.
I'm also looking forward to seeing partnerships develop and just seeing the green industry in Dominica boom. So the main thing that I want to see come out from this is really seeing some partnerships created, really seeing you guys, come together and push the green industry in Dominica, because right now you're the face of green in Dominica, at least for the next 3 days.
I believe that NDFD's initiative to have this Green Summit is a step in the right direction to further strengthen our economy by giving entrepreneurs the tools to better manage their operations and encourage green investments, environmentally friendly, low carbon products and services.
Any sustainable practice, whether it is large or small, are important steps in helping us make Earth a safe place for the future generations. We must all help toward the goal of living in harmony with the environment.
One of the most important aspects of law and business is understanding your business. So if you don't know what you have, how can you protect what you have and you don't know what you have?
When we go into business, we also have to bear in mind that there are reasons other than just legal why you have to do the registrations.
Business planning is the process of setting a company's goals, strategy, and future actions with the purpose of maximizing the odds of company growth within a set time.
Constant feedback, whether it is from your internal customers, providing your team, your family members with feedback, it's important constantly. Whether it is connecting with your customers and being open to their feedback, it is important. But as the leader, it's important for you to give those that you work with feedback. It is important to connect with your customers, to be able to get their feedback, because that feedback is intelligence.
The basic question is, what is financial management? I see you like the little thing, right? Yeah. Right? So, financial management involves, financing decisions. And financing decisions is related to money, all right? Money. And how much is needed? The second logical question, once you have identified the amount of money which is required, then you need to ask yourself, where does it come from, right? Because we do not always have all of the resources that we require.
Ideation and creativity, are they different? Are they the same thing? Or they're connected with each other?
I think I hear a consensus. Yes, they are connected, right? So ideation and being creative, they're very much connected. Like they're almost the same person, but they are not, but they're very much connected to each other.
In this environment, there are lots of things that you have to take into consideration because things have changed. In the marketing environment, a lot of things have changed. So in that search for creating profits and delivering customer service, we also have to think of environment. Okay? Whatever you do, and the whole question of sustainable development, we want to ensure that whatever we do not affect the ability of future generations to meet their own needs.
Okay, accounting is the process of recording, summarizing, analyzing, and reporting financial transactions of a business. Okay?
Trust me, I know just where we should be. And that is Dominica, where I can take you down to the river. We could be sipping on island rum, bathing in island sun, chipping to island drums. Baby, that's a happy place. Oh, Dominica, where I can take you down to the river. We could be sipping on island rum, bathing in island sun, chipping to island drums.
You come to pitch to high solution investors, you come a certain way. If you come maybe there's a youth organization and somebody say, come and talk to some young people about business, you have to take it a different way. So you need to know your audience, put yourself in your audience with, and know how you're going to deliver it to this audience.
Out of that, an idea was born, because I always said, why not think like there is no box at all? So no packaging, pun intended. And so if soap and shampoo had a baby, then a shampoo bar would be born. And so that's where the idea came in for our shampoo bars. And market analysis shows that the personal care industry is worth over $500 billion a year. Wouldn't you want to tap into that? JD's Natural sure does.
But what I would like to share is my joy that this summit has brought, not just to me and the board members and the NDFD, but I'm sure to you as well, the participants. I know you've been exposed to our mentors, panel of experts, our trainers, and I'm sure that the quality of these individuals we had interact with you provided you with a tremendous amount of knowledge that you can use going forward.
Each of these 11 participants come forward to present their innovations, their green innovations. I was impressed. I was blown away. I did see innovation. I saw creativity. I saw sustainability. I saw everything and more that the NDFD promised that we would see here today. And I also want to congratulate each and every one of you for coming up with these innovations.
Yes. Our second runner-up is Nafkoti Shaw. Congratulations. Our first runner-up is Jay St. John. Our winner of our inaugural Green Innovations Summit is congratulations, Jody.
Stresses run, go, and if they say success, then baby trust me, I know just where we should be. And that is Dominica, Nika, 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 Nika.